So we will now hand over to the lovely Morwenna. So this is the first time she's presented on the Zoom, and ironically is doing a presentation on Zoom about what we did before we had tech. So which I'm really looking forward to. So well done, Morwenna, for doing this for us today. And I will hand over to you.
So I'm going to speak to you as though you were actually a client of mine, because I think it's probably going to be easier for me to explain this to you. So when I sit down with you, I'll explain that this is your financial plan, and what we do is we take a view of where you are on your lifeline, effectively. If we hang on, I'm just about to get some instructions. Am I speaking too loudly?
It's coming out 90 degrees.
Apparently my screen went to 90 degrees. Apologies for that. So this is your lifeline. If we take your lifeline, according to the Bible, 70 is a decent age. Obviously 70 years. That's most of the people I know are living a lot longer than that. And the wealthier you are in retirement, the healthier and longer you are going to live. So I think it's really important to get people focused down on exactly what happens. But if I take those first 70 years and I break them down to days of the week, so to explain, 0 to 10 was Monday and you were a child. 10 to 20 was Tuesday and you were in full-time education. You started work on Wednesday. You worked through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with the hope of having, whoops-a-daisy, Sunday off, and hopefully longer. What I'm hoping that you all accept is that between each of these decades, there are 10 years here, 10 years here, 10 years here, and 10 years here. So there's 40 years with, I hope you'll also accept that there are 12 months in each year. So there's 120 months here, 120 months here, 120 months here, 120 months here. So there's 480 months in total for us to do your financial plan. And strangely, lots of people don't come to me until they're more than 20 years of age. What an amazing plan I could put in place if they came to me as soon as they left school, but c'est la vie. There's something, as you probably know, called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 tells us that if we can get an investment return for you of 7.2%, we can get your money to double every 10 years. And the reverse happens. If I can get you a 10% return on your money, then your money will double every 7.2 years. So that means that if I manage to persuade you to save £100 a month from the age of 20, you will save £12,000 in each of these decades. With the Rule of 72, that £12,000 will hopefully grow to 24,000 in the next decade, to 48,000 in the next decade, 96,000 in the next decade. And that £12,000 will equally grow and double, assuming, of course, we get this growth rate, which obviously doesn't always happen, but it's a rule of thumb. You know how you're doing if you manage to get that return. And that means that you'd only have got in your savings £170,000. Now, that isn't going to be enough for anybody to retire on in reaching their goals. So I have to get you to focus a little bit. Now, at this stage, I don't know how old you are, but let's say, for example, when I meet you, you're 45, I put a line down there and say, we've actually got fewer years and fewer months. What I found that this does is it really focuses the client's mind as to where they are. But then I say, but to date, you already have, say, 200,000 accumulated in your pensions and investments, which then takes the pain off the fact that they've only got 15 years left with the accordingly reduced number of months. Having focused their mind, I explained to them that what I've discovered is that you can't do your financial planning on your own, and I can't do your financial planning for you by myself. We have to cooperate with each other, which means you need to tell me when there have been life changes in your life, and I need to be here for you when those happen so that I can guide you through them. Now, if I just bear with me, I'll just get another page up. What is great is that in doing this, it gives me a chance to say to them, the only thing that will make and ensure that your financial planning goes wrong is if your health fails as you go along, or if you lose your job for some other reason. One of two things happens at this stage. So I explained to them about income protection and critical illness cover. And let's say, for example, they're on a salary of £45,000 a year. And I say to them, I understand from your work benefits, you've got 2 times death in service, and 8% of your income is being paid into a pension, which you may want to add to. But before we do that, let's just make sure that we've insured your income against becoming too ill to work. Sorry, there's every now and then there's a ding dong and it's distracting me. That's the trouble with speaking to somebody who has ADHD, so apologies for that. If I say to the person, are you enjoying your work? And we find out how much they're enjoying their work. Sometimes you find out people aren't enjoying your work, so you end up going off at a tangent. But for the sake of this, let's say that they do enjoy their work. And I said to them, don't you think it would be nice if your employer was to insure your income for 60% until retirement age, or state retirement age, let's say, for example, 68, and that they were to give you, say, 5 times your salary if you were diagnosed with a life-threatening or debilitating illness? Quite often they'll say to me, yep, that would be really good. And I said, but you're really enjoying your job. What if your company came along and said, right, that's what we're going to do for you, but your salary is only going to be 43,000 a year? Would that be attractive because of these other benefits that they're giving you? And I have to tell you that 9 times out of 10, people say, yeah, that would be absolutely brilliant. And I said, well, why don't we set it up that way? And they said, well, you'll speak to my employer. And I said, well, no, we can set these up for you. It's just that you're going to have to give yourself a pay cut in order for this to work. And what you've effectively established for the client then is obviously a gross premium of 2,000, which after tax is 2,000 a year, or 1,800 after tax, which is effectively £150 a month. Now, I think most of us could set up decent benefits of this kind, which actually are portable from job to job. And my experience is that not only have you now focused them on how they're going to spend their money, they will also insure their income against ill health. And when all my clients have income protection and critical illness cover, and my experience is that when these life events happen that I've told them they have to tell me about, I get a phone call to say so-and-so's been admitted to hospital. I go into hospital, well, before COVID, I used to go into hospital and visit them. And on one particular occasion, one of my clients, they thought he had had a stroke. So I went in and visited him. And I was asked to wait because the priest was with him, giving him the last rites. And whilst the priest came out and left, and then I went in to see him, and he said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting to see you." And I said, "No, I've just come to see you so to let you know you've got nothing to worry about financially. All you have to do is concentrate on getting better. We've insured against this happening." And then left. And the following day, I got a phone call from his wife. And the nurse had been in to take the blood pressure every 15 minutes. And they went in and took the blood pressure after the priest had been in. And it was still very high and they were very worried about it. They went in and took his blood pressure after I had visited him. And they asked her who had just been to visit the patient. And she said, "Well, his financial advisor." "And why do you ask?" Is it because his blood pressure is back to normal? So not only persuading people that these things can happen, but getting them insured before it actually happens is, for me, always been the highest priority, because it's the most wonderful feeling to visit somebody in hospital and tell them they have nothing to worry about. I'm going to wrap up at this stage because I know we are overrunning just a little bit. I've got a lot more that I could present to you, but I'm also concerned with taking too much of your time. And I know I'm going over old things with you that you're probably all already doing all these things, for which I then apologize for presenting this to you. But doing my financial planning this way has worked. So without further ado, I will sign off there.